Hi, Sour Patch Hero. Thanks for joining me tonight. This is the second time we're having this conversation as the original recording got screwed up. So really appreciate you being gracious and doing this again with me. So thank you.
Not a problem.
Yeah. So we're gonna do our best to go through, the questions. There's a lot of content on chat and stuff too as we kind of went along. So we'll try to stay and make sure that everybody who was not able to attend tonight gets kind of the full experience. So we'll just jump in. Sour Patch Hero, you wrote "I'm Not the Hero." I think there's 3 books out now. In preparation for con, and I'm Breck. Well, you can find me on Royal Road and Amazon. But in preparation for con, I was reading a lot of first books and series so I could get to know some of the authors that are in Discord and talking. And I got done with I'm Not the Hero, and I just wanted to have a conversation with you. And I was excited about the book and some of the premise. And when I was about to reach out, I was like, maybe it would be better for everybody if everybody got to come along for that conversation and add to it. And we had a lot of questions tonight. It was great. So I'm going to dive in. For those of you who have never read I'm Not the Hero, I listened to the book last week on Audible. It's narrated by Nick Podell. It's an isekai lit RPG that explores being the other guy with mainly support powers standing right next to the hero. In essence, our main character, Oren, tries to find his place, keep his himbo-y hero best friend alive, all the while navigating this like new world that he doesn't quite understand. After finishing book 1, I know I'm gonna add book 2 and 3 and the rest of the series to my TBR. So we'll just go ahead and dive in. So Sour Patch Hero is your pen name, obviously. Would you like us at the con or in this recording to call you Sour Patch Hero? How would you like us to address you? What would you prefer?
Sour Patch, Sour Patch Hero is fine. If you call it up to con, I will turn around for sure. I also my name is Tommy. I have officially changed it over at Amazon now too, so you can search Tommy Kerber or Sour Patch Hero and find me. But yeah, either one, I'm very open as long as you are nice. That's all
Yeah. Yes. Hear that, everybody. Got to be nice. Um, you never know if Gertrude's going to come out, right? Uh, so you got to tell me, where did Sour Patch Hero come from as a pen name? It's pretty unique.
So I released I'm Not the Hero originally on Royal Road, which is a wonderful website that I think every single person going to this con should be very well versed in. Um, I got through putting the first chapter up. I had everything written. I even came up with the title, I'm Not the Hero. And then they asked me for a name, like my pen name, and I panicked because I didn't want to use my own name because at that point it was just a hobby and I wasn't sure I wanted to have my name out there. And so I looked to my right, and I had this huge 5 pound bag of Sour Patch Kids, which I should not have eaten by myself. So I just decided, it's my favorite candy, and my book's name, I'm Not the Hero, so Sour Patch Hero was born.
Go for it. Yeah. No, I love it. It's pretty unique. It is funny because it's like I'm not the hero, but your Sour Patch Hero is a
Yep.
nice little, yeah, yeah. Well, I did a little digging. It looks like you started I'm Not the Hero on Royal Road almost 3 years ago. What inspired you to just get out there and write it initially?
So I had read a lot of books on Royal Road, a lot of different stories. I mean, it's amazing still how many incredible stories are undiscovered on there. But I really I wanted the story of the guy behind the main hero because we always get the big hero who saves the day and goes out and completes the major quest, but I really enjoy all the secondary characters in those stories, and I wanted to know a little bit more about them. And so this idea of a character who didn't run right into the battle, but who kind of stayed back and maybe buffed the characters and was the support, kind of came along, and yeah, that's where that came from.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's good. I think I've heard a lot of authors say, they wanted a book and they couldn't find it, so they just wrote it themselves. It sounds like you kind of
That's
fall into that
exactly
same. Yeah, yeah,
that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
First and foremost, this is the story for me. Like, I love that you guys are all reading it with me, but I mean, I have fun writing it because it's like I'm discovering the story for myself.
Yeah, yeah. I think Broken Joker said, "Hey, if you're not in love with your own story, then what's the point, right?" Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Well, that really centers on like the thing that I really, like and was unique about I'm Not the Hero is that it does just what it claims. It's not from the hero's perspective. The hero's Daniel, kind of a buff, quarterback, golden boy type, right? But it's from the perspective of his less impressive best friend Oren, who kind of strikes me as a little nerdy, definitely second fiddle to Daniel, maybe like sixth or seventh fiddle, right? But we get some major hints that Oren's more than what he seems. Um, but why not the hero? How many lit RPGs have we read where the main character is this overpowered, demigod of a person, right? And you chose the guy standing right next to him. What is it about that dynamic that's so appealing?
Well, I knew that I wanted two characters. And as much as Oren is the main character, Daniel has just as much face time in the story, obviously. Um, and I really liked that dynamic of two friends who you could explore not only Daniel's mindset of being able to turn and talk to his best friend, because usually these stories when they get sent somewhere else, they're all alone and they have to build up their relationships. But in this one, Daniel never had to do that because hey, his best friend happened to tag along too. So being able to have that really lets you investigate more the character's motivations, helps them get through their struggles a little bit better. Um, and to be honest, it fits so well with the whole support character. I didn't want him to come in and be a supporting character who stood in the back, the hero who stood in the back and did everything. You still need that guy who rushes forward and is the idiot. But I wanted to write about the guy who pulls the idiot back sometimes. And it's like, hey, we don't really need to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it really comes across. They have this kind of like brotherly kind of connection where they're kind of pranking each other or calling BS when it's warranted, right? It's cool to see the accountability that Oren and Daniel bring to each other and that play off of each other. Yeah,
They are definitely two different sides to the same coin. And by having that, you are able to have them be exposed to more situations because you know that working together, they'll be able to get through whatever it is.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they're both pretty young in the novel, and um, it's maybe that aspect of like we want believable characters even if they are overpowered, right? Like these two, like a 17-year-old ability to problem solve like disaster by himself is maybe not very high, but it's a lot more believable when you've got them bouncing off of each other, right, and pulling each other
Yeah,
back from
exactly.
mistakes. Yeah, yeah. Well, one of the other aspects that I really thought stood out about I'm Not the Hero is that your main character, Oren, has some pretty system breaking abilities initially, which again is a pretty typical lit RPG trope, Um, and we kind of go down that route, but they actually have some pretty dark implications. I am giving a little bit away here, but we're not going to go into the detail. But I love how you make this choice between saving folks and people now, and then this possibility of him paying an ultimate price later. The mechanic kind of plays off as almost like this like addictive withdrawal sort of mechanic, and yeah, what is your reasoning with the cost of that power?
Um, so I said this earlier and I'll say it again, but the weird part about Oren's power is that he's able to kind of, because of reasons for that will come out in later books, he's able to kind of regain mana throughout the day, where other people have a limited amount that they can use, so they have to really be judicious with what spells they cast. And he can continuously rebuild his mana pool, so he's able to spend a lot more of it. And having him just be able to be an unlimited spellcaster didn't sound fun. So I needed some reason, and it was so great because everything that I had planned just fit perfectly in this. okay, well, if he spends too much mana, he's gonna it's gonna cost him something later, and that cost is like pretty drastic. Like, do you want to save these people? You can, but then you're gonna pay for it later, and it's not gonna be fun. So it
Yes.
really gives him this, he has to really think through. Okay, well, I could do this thing, but do I want to then not be able to do anything for a week or more? Which makes him have to be smart with how he uses this OP power that nobody else has.
Yeah. Yeah, the balancing is really good because it's like you give them, this unbelievably fast kind of car, right? And he, goes 100 miles an hour and finds out the ramifications of that, right? Like it's just cool because you don't, you let the characters make mistakes, and that's really powerful when you're building out these kind of believable people, So, yeah,
Yeah, and they don't know. I mean, they're not from this world, so they don't actually know that everybody else has this limitation. By the time they find out, he's already kind of, you know, he doesn't know it yet, but he's about to suffer.
yeah, yes, yes, yeah. All right, so I'm gonna hop into some of the user questions, and I'm gonna kind of scan and ask them as they come here. So I know when we talked earlier, you indicated that you were a pantser, right? Can you explain kind of how that process works for you when you're writing?
Yeah. So when I started writing the story, I knew the characters I wanted to start with. I knew where I wanted it to end, and I knew some major beats I wanted to hit along the way. Other than that, I kind of just threw the characters into situations and felt where they were going to go. Um, I am a pantser, which means I don't plan every chapter the T of knowing exactly where they're going to be and where they're going to go. As long as they hit within so many chapters what I need, where I need them to, I kind of let them do what I feel their characters would do. Um, and I really feel like as I'm writing, they are telling me the story, which
Yeah.
sounds so pretentious and I hate it, but it really is like they do things all the time that I'm like, I really don't want that because it's gonna put a whole nother, side quest in that I'm gonna have to spend 5 chapters. But you know what? Sometimes I have to because that's exactly what they would do in that situation. And nothing drives me more crazy than reading a story and being like, but that guy wouldn't have saved those
Yes.
people, like, or he definitely would have saved those people. But yeah, the way I write is just sit down, I write where they are and where I need them to go, and it's kind of what happens. It's
Yeah.
fun for
Yeah.
me too.
It's cool when you see an author just kind of let, like, they've created these characters that are so real with their own motivations and stuff, and they just let go and let the characters kind of lead on. Although I 100% understand what you mean by it can be frustrating. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, our first user question that I've come back to is Richie's, which is why Gertrude? Why this big Buster sword, right? As the focus for, part of Daniel's, uh, focus for book one.
So Final Fantasy VII is forever one of my favorite video games. Obviously, Cloud's Buster Sword was an inspiration, um, but I didn't want him to be. And he didn't pick it because of that. He picked it because it was this big, beautiful sword that was so freaking cool. And oh, I can't hold it because it's too heavy. Yeah, that's gonna make
Challenge
me want it even
accepted.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and I needed him to have something. I needed him to have a weapon because he is a frontline fighter. Daniel is not the kind of person who sits in the back and thinks things through. He's the guy who rushes that problem. Um, and so I needed something big and absolutely, show stopping. And this sword idea that came, I was like, yeah, I mean that totally hits. Like that's the kind of thing that Daniel would be like, yeah, I need this giant sword because in my mind, I'm gonna swing it around with no problem right away. He does not. It is absolutely. It takes. I. It's been a while, but I think it's like at least 20 chapters before he can
Yeah.
actually carry it on his own.
Yeah.
Um, And so it's a thing like, okay, well, he makes bad decisions, but you know, it's Gertrude. She's a beautiful sword that he's gonna have
Yeah.
for as long as I let him have it.
Right. I mean, it's one of those things that make him like, you're like, oh yeah, he is just a teenage boy, right? He wants the biggest, baddest
Yeah.
sword. Yeah, yeah, you know,
Yeah, you give a 17-year-old a bunch of money and you put him in a car dealership. Which car does he pick? I
right.
mean,
Yeah, yeah. Well, what I'm hearing you say is that you need somebody with uh, Gertrude playing Daniel to cosplay at the con this coming, this coming.
please, 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 I want all the pictures with you if you do.
Yeah, yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah, yeah. Well, it looks like Richie admits that he really just wanted Final Fantasy VII praise. He's a fan. So, and Broken Joker says Gertrude is the best girl, which I agree.
She is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Lady J is asking us, did you choose Nick as your narrator for the audiobook? And if so, what made you want him to be the voice of your story?
So when Podium actually approached me, I did not have as much faith in my story as many people would want to read it as you guys have, which has just been absolutely mind blowing. As I said earlier, I 100% still have imposter syndrome. But when they asked me who I wanted, I was like, well, whoever you guys recommend. And so we had somebody, and then that fell through. And then he ended up getting another job, and they came back and were like, "Oh, well, we have this other guy for you. His name's Nick Podell." And I was like, huh, "What? I know that one.
Yeah,
Yes." And it has just been an absolute pleasure, like hearing him bring these characters to life in a way that I could only ever dream. I'm not normally an audiobook listener. I love I'm a book dragon. I collect so many, it's ridiculous.
yeah,
Um, but being able to listen to him and hear the different tones that he gives people and the way he brings them to life, it's just been. I mean, it 100% is now the voice that I hear in my head when I'm writing a new line of dialogue. So it's been an absolute joy having him.
yeah, yeah. I don't know too many lit RPG authors that would be like, no, no, I don't want Nick. Yeah, no. I don't think
Yeah,
that's
no,
conversation anybody's having. Yeah. Well, I think just it sounds like it was kind of hapstance that you got him, but it was meant to be. He does just narrate it beautifully. So that's yeah, fell into the honeypot on that one. So yeah. Um, okay, we've got a serious question from Rue. They want to know, what did you do to prepare your hair today?
I forgot this one was asked. Um, yeah, so my hair was big and scruffy. I went and got a haircut. My mom's getting married next week, and then the con's right after. So it's like I definitely need to. And I, we're gonna be on camera tonight, so I had to go get my haircut. Um, I'll probably have to get it cut again before the con because it is my hair grows like a weed. It's terrible.
Yeah,
Spend more money on getting my haircut than probably anything else each month.
yeah. Well, hey, you look good. Congratulations to your mom on the wedding. Hopefully that goes off
Thanks.
really well for her. I will admit I also got my hair cut, not today, but earlier this week, or last week.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful.
All of us nerds are getting really top tip shape for the con. So
Yeah.
hopefully they appreciate it. Yeah. Rue has got another question for us. They want to know, what is Orin's favorite TV show?
Okay, so I did have to think about that one earlier, but I think I said The Office because I think you would almost look at it as like an ironic old show now because he's so much younger. Like we would think of Friends as like, oh, that came out so long ago, but the reason being, I think he would think he was Jim and Daniel was Dwight because all he wants to do is prank Daniel and bring him down a few pegs because Daniel is definitely got that Dwight confidence, that's for sure.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I think The Office was my answer.
Yeah, absolutely. You can totally see them kind of like holding each other's egos in check. That like interplay
Yes.
back and forth. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, perfect. Well, I'm going to come back to one of my questions. So you've got book 1 through 3 is out, and I think you said book 4 is due in December. Um, how many books were you planning on having in the series? And when's
Yeah.
that
So
next one?
now
Yeah.
that it's So now that I know it's being recorded, Podium keeps asking the same thing. I know that book five will be coming out as well. I think book six will be, unless somehow they plow through every single side quest and loop thread that they haven't completed in book five, which is impossible.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to go with a firm six, is what I am going to say today.
Okay. Um, we pinky promise not to hold you accountable to that. If you want to, make a book 7 or 8, or nobody's gonna be sad. Well, Podium might, but your fans are not
Oh,
gonna be sad.
they Cody would be like, please, yeah, more,
Yeah,
yeah.
more. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's great. It sounds like you still have a little bit to go, but if you're working on book 5 now and book 6 is the last book potentially, right? What's next for you? The Lady J asked this question of like, do you have another series rattling around in your head?
I do. It's a revenge lit RPG of a guy trying to get back at the people who have taken something from him. And there's a whole cast of gods that have given powers to people on Earth. Uh, that might be a little bit more than I wanted to share right away, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's very much in the vein of um, like the Primal Hunter, Zilgrath story, incredible story of powers giving powers to people on Earth. However, my story is going to focus on this one guy and one of the goddess that he teams up with, and their kind of relationship of diametrically opposed viewpoint on how things should be handled, and the way that they get to go about his journey of powering up, completing his goals, and the fun relationships that he has along the way. Definitely going to be a little bit more adult, darker than I'm Not the Hero. I love the kids; they're great, but I don't feel like I am able to have them, go as hard as I want them to sometimes
Mm-hmm.
because they're 17 and it might scare people if I had teenagers doing that kind of stuff
Doing the
with
things, yeah.
people. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. Well, I know when you mentioned this new series, it was a big hit. Rue and Broken Joker, and a few of the folks were like, "Ooh, dark." We went dark. It's popular right now in lit RPG. You've seen a lot of dark stuff come out. In the genre in general. So, yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah.
well, one thing I didn't say earlier that I'll also share is I've also got an idea for a cozy fantasy. So it's like,
Ooh.
which one do I get to write first?
Hmm.
We'll see which uh, idea I put pen to paper first.
I love it. Yeah, I did a cozy fantasy last year, and it was, it was it was the thing. It was really nice. I mean, it can be, the world maybe needs more cozy fantasies. It's one or the other, right? You got to go one way or the other right now.
And I'll write them both at the same time. That way, when I'm
Yeah.
feeling depressed off of the one, I can go have some happy fun times. Like,
Yeah, there you
we'll
go.
see.
I don't think fans will complain. So, yeah. Well, Troy had a question about if you were going to do anything different as a beginner author, like right when you were first writing I'm Not the Hero, what would you change, or what would you do differently for yourself?
Okay, so I think at first I answered this almost incorrectly. I The one thing that I definitely would do early on would be take better notes. My note system is terrible. I have 17 different things that I'm always having to double check to make sure all of my everything is. I have one for characters. I have one for locations. I have one for ideas. I have one for side quests or neat threads. Um, Podium gave me a really great workup on the end of book one that was just like every single character and all of the things, the places, and their hair color, how old they were, which was the start of the actual
Yeah.
notes that I had. But as far as what I would do differently, honestly, from the very beginning, nothing. I didn't expect the kind of success that I've seen is still mind blowing and humbling. Um, but my wife calls it Tommy Luck. I somehow things when I want them. And I just thought it was going to be a fun little side story. I had no idea that people would actually want to follow Oren and Daniel with me along on this incredible ride. So I've done nothing other than be very lucky that people like Podium reached out to me and were like, "Hey, we love your story. Can you publish it?" And I was like, "Are you guys sure? Like,
Yeah.
you read my book or did you just click?"
Yeah.
But it's just been absolutely amazing. I don't think I would change much more than just taking a little bit better notes, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just to make my writing process a little easier for me.
Yeah. Well, two things there. I mean, I think that, I think young authors, when they first start out, really underestimate how quickly you forget all the little tiny details that matter when you're writing a epic, story. And yeah, the note taking, I don't know how many times I've revised the way I take notes and like how I'm trying to track the system updates and, the rest of it. Um, because yeah, people fact check you on that. If his eyes were brown in chapter 3 and green in chapter, 153, you'll get caught, right? So,
Yeah, and I mean, I was a forever DM. I was playing D&D. I was always the guy coming up with the story for many years. Thank God, my other players now have taken on that role. Um, but I think that that really helps me being able to keep track of a lot of
mhm.
things because even when I'm a player, I'm the guy who takes absolutely stupid amounts of notes, and then I'll call the DM out on it like, oh no, you said that there were 15 guards left and we killed 10, so there's only five. So being able like having that, I know where my notes are. It's just searching through all of the notes that I have is absolutely insane. But I still haven't found the perfect program to keep track of all of that. But
Yeah, me
it's
neither.
okay.
When you find it, you'll have to share it with me. So, yeah.
Same.
Yeah. The second thing that, like the serendipity of, kind of having the success that you've had has been amazing. And I think you shared with us in the earlier chat, in the earlier call, that you recently left kind of your day job to become a full-time author. So congratulations, achievement unlocked.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Yes. Book two came out and people were still, excited about it. And then I had turned in book three and the timing just worked out. So I quit my lawyer job in January and late January, and I've been writing since February, and it's been absolutely the most fun. I feel like it should be illegal. Like I don't know how this is my job now.
Yeah.
It's like I said earlier, imposter syndrome. This is insane. I love it. Please keep buying my books because I will write as long as you guys will let me.
Yeah.
It's a dream come true.
That's awesome. Do you find yourself working like just as much as a full-time author as you did with a corporate job? You know?
So I was a lawyer, and I wrote briefs all the time. So I worked 40 hours a week writing, and then I'd get my kids, and we'd spend the whole night together, and I'd hang out with my wife for a few hours until she fell asleep, and then I would write from like 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. Like I think I did like Tuesday, Thursday, Friday night, and I did that for 3 years. I don't know how I'm still alive because I did not sleep. Um, so now, now that I'm just writing, I kind of keep the same schedule, but instead of going and working at a job, I'm at home writing. The only thing I do different now is I take a hour for myself to go hit the gym or get lunch. Like I try to keep myself moving a little bit more because just sitting in front of the screen and typing, I feel like I can get away with it a little bit. But yeah, my output is just skyrocketed, which
That's
is
awesome.
I love it. I think that I will get books to Podium before their deadline, which they don't know me for. Like
Yeah.
they know that if they want something on Monday, they need to tell me that I should get it to them the Friday before.
Yeah.
Uh, which is great. I love that everybody knows that about me.
They've
So I'm
adjusted.
hoping to
Yeah.
surprise them now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of writers with that are parents write between that like the 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. sort of time slot, right? A lot of writing gets done in the world at that time. So, yeah.
Well,
Uh,
that's where I started. I mean,
Hmm.
my wife was falling asleep pregnant. My wife was pregnant with our second kid, and she was falling asleep on the couch at like 8 o'clock. And I was like, my other kid's already in bed. And I'm like, I've got no more video games to beat. Maybe I'll try writing a story, and I guess that kind of worked out. So
Yeah, yeah, I'll say, yeah,
yeah.
no, that's awesome. Well, we've got a question here, and I know you struggled with it in our early conversation about, if you could cast two character, like if Netflix picked you up tomorrow and was like, who do you want to be, Oren and Daniel? Um, what would you say, or how would that thought process work for you?
So I started writing I'm Not the Hero 3 years ago, and when I did go and find pictures on IMDb of like young actors who and actresses of like what I wanted these characters to kind of look like, and I scrolled until I found like the thousands list. Like I didn't want main people, so I found these I'm sure they're wonderful actors, but I've never seen anything they're in. And I found these people who kind of fit what I was going for, and I saved them on my desktop so that I could always just kind of look at it and remind myself, okay, this is who this person is. Um, and then I started getting the artwork for these books, and the character, they're the same characters, but like they just the slight differences between each of the covers, and it's really morphed how I've looked at them. And I've always tried to keep my descriptions of them not so exact that when you look at it, you go, oh well, I didn't think that this character looked like that. I want everybody to imagine who they want in those characters. Um, so I'll never give a name or show those pictures. But as long as the representation was there, and the 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 story itself was honored, I would trust anybody. So Netflix, if you're interested, please contact me.
Yeah, yeah. Hear that, Netflix?
Yeah.
Summon them. Yeah, yeah. Well, um, one of the next questions, I think was one of my, more favorite ones, because of your answer. Do you ever incorporate real people in your books, like real people you know in life?
I never. Okay, so I have characters who incorporate aspects of people I know, and I have characters who physically are people I know because I like to visualize who these people are.
Hmm.
But if I place a person as like, oh, this person is X, that person is not personality wise X, because I don't want to write one of those characters. I don't want to write somebody in that I know. It works for so many books and I love it, but I like creating these completely unique people. Um, but saying that, so many of my characters are aspects of people I know.
Yeah.
Daniel and Oren are 100%, my brothers, my best friends, people I just see on the street high fiving. If you see two guys giving each other hugs at the gym, I'm like, haha, yes, brotherly love, do it.
Yeah.
But it's all about taking those characters of people you know, and like you said, we all know people, and it's just finding out who those people are and then writing them as they would react in those situations.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard to escape having some aspect of all the people you've experienced in the world involved in your characters, but um,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, okay. Our next question here is, well, it's not less a question. The chat group rose up with pitchforks and demanded more about Tony. Apparently, he's a fan favorite, and I think there was even the suggestion that your grimdark, your next series that you're going to write feature Tony and maybe Steel Foundation's Hannah as a buddy buddy teaming up to go out for revenge. I think that would be an
Well,
unstoppable force.
well, now I'm definitely gonna have to pitch that to Jay in some kind of way. But um, I definitely know Tony shows up in future books. I know that he's got a backstory that I want to tell, trying to get it in there because it does fit with some of the things that are going on in the world. But as far as promising that, no. I definitely did have early on in book one. Somebody asked for a 20 short stories, so I wrote a chapter which I told you about earlier.
Hmm.
Sorry, get some water. There's a chapter where Tony kind of goes dark um, for a little bit, and I rewrote that chapter from his perspective, which was such a fun exercise to do. But it came out like such a comedy in his mind. Like, well, why is everybody freaking out? What are you worried about? Like, come
Hmm.
on, this is me. That it just totally didn't work, and I never released it because it just it also had some inner thoughts that I was like, I'm gonna save that for later because that gives a
Keep
little
that
bit more juice.
mysterious. Yeah.
Yeah, but it gives like this other his backstory. Tony is such a fun character. I absolutely love him.
Yeah.
And I wish that I could just maybe I will just write some short novella with him. It'd be fun. Why not?
Yeah. Novella, give some
Yeah.
Patreon content. Yeah, I mean, people are hankering for it. I think you might want the Daniel and Gertrude cosplay, and you're gonna get like 15 Tonys coming up to you. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. I could just see it. You sitting down playing D&D, and you've got 5 Tonys around the table. It's gonna happen. Yeah,
Bring it. Come on. The more cosplay from Imp you guys bring, I'm down. I'm down
yeah,
for this.
yeah. All right. So let's talk about con real quick. Um, where are we gonna find you at con? Are you gonna be on panels? Are you gonna be playing games? What's the best place for people to locate you?
So I'm staying at the hotel. I will be active at the con for as long as my social battery allows. I am on 2 panels. I am not allowed to tell you guys yet, but I should
Yeah,
find out on
Tuesday, I
Monday.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then I am also signed up for a few game sessions, game slots as well. And on the ones where it's like free play and I don't have to, I will also be playing games. So I'm very excited for that. I
Yeah.
will play any game. As I said earlier, I am a rules lawyer. So as long as you give me the instructions beforehand, I will try any game out. I love any kind of game. I will 100% be playing D&D at some point. I don't know how I'm going to put that together. Um, it might just be with all the Tonys. We'll just play in the hallway
Yeah.
somewhere. But
I, I could see it. You'll just all be sitting in your own rooms, mentally playing with each other. D&D. Yeah.
that's how it works. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It is with Tony anyway. So. Now, I know you mentioned that you're bringing books too. Richie was inquiring whether you're going to have a book set aside for him, pre-signed.
I I do. I already have it for Richie. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm bringing a limited quantity of all three of the books that are out. A few more of book one, just in case people want to start the series. But if you have it already and you want me to sign it, definitely bring it. I'm not on the signing. I didn't sign up to do signings through the con,
Yeah.
but if you yell at Tommy or Star and I'll sign right on your back. It's okay.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. You're going to get a bunch of, you know, uh, Tonys. You're going to be signing their foreheads or something. I don't know. We'll see. It's now canon. Um, all right. So a couple last, just short questions here. Um, Social media wise, what's the best place to get updates from you or to follow you?
SourpatchHero.com has links to all of my socials and all of my current books, as well as some new merchandise, like coffee mugs and t-shirts, silly things. Um, I'm more active on Reddit. I'm, you know, SourpatchHero. I'll play around in the LitRPG and the progression fantasy threads. I try to post on Facebook and Instagram. I have a Twitter. That's about all I'll say.
I have a Twitter
I
too. I
I
never post on it. Yeah.
No, it's terrible. Unless the new book is coming out and I'm promoting, like that's about it. Um, but yeah, Discord. I've got a Discord channel. You can find the link on the LitRPG Con side group thing for that. Um, but yeah, other than that, it's really just my Patreon. You can join for as a free member. You don't have to pay. You can if you want to read all the rest of the book, in their not edited versions. Um, but yeah, I post about once a month on there, just kind of like little
Okay.
tidbits and
Yeah.
updates on what's going on, what I'm working on, or you know, just complain about whatever I'm thinking of that night.
Yeah. Yeah, the free memberships are really nice because you know, at least you get announcements and you know what's going on with your authors, you know. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, people can
Oh, I
always
mean,
pay too and get chapters ahead, right?
I'm a free member of more authors than I care to admit,
Yeah,
and I pay for a few too because you know, hey, I still like reading all these fun stories.
right. Yeah, got to support the authors that are providing all the content. Yeah, yeah. Well, another question for you is, was there an author or book that really inspired you in the beginning, or is there something that you would recommend to add to Pop Pop's TBR post-con?
Okay, so as I said, I'm not recommending this one to Pop Pop because I know that he would get lost in it for the next few months. Um, called Worm by Wildbow. Um, it was my first introduction to web serials, and that's why it holds such a special place in my heart. It's actually one of those the Wandering Inn size stories that is
Wow.
just like I don't know how this man wrote that. I could write as much as I write now for the rest of my life, and I would barely touch it.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a superhero story. Um, of a young girl who just has gained her powers and is struggling with that, whether she wants to be a superhero or a supervillain, and it is absolutely phenomenal in my opinion. Will always hold a special place in my heart because it helped me discover web serials and Royal Road after that, and all of the incredible authors on Royal Road who to this day I think should have a publishing deal way before I did. Um, so like I said, like I still go on Royal Road at least once a month, get random and just try something
Yeah.
new. Like you don't even need to. I mean, all of the top rated ones are incredible. But I mean, there are so many out there who just don't even get read that are criminally amazing. Like it's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. There's a lot of talent on Royal Road that's just undiscovered. So yeah, no, absolutely. I've been doing kind of the random search here myself. So yeah, yeah.
good, good, good.
Well, thank you so much for joining me twice tonight. I really appreciate it, and you've dealt with having to do this a second time very gracefully. Everybody, read "I'm Not the Hero." It's a great lit RPG. Um, and find Sour Patch Hero. If you're like the darker stuff, you just have to wait a little bit, and we'll have that revenge story out here. So, thanks for joining us. See everybody at the con, and yeah, have a good night.
Thank you so much. Have a
Yeah.
great night.
Okay. Yeah. Let me